Anonymous Watch Guy here with a full review video. Quick wrist check wearing the Timex Expedition North Field Chrono that I unboxed on the channel recently. Loving that one. Today we are giving the full review treatment to a watch that I acquired pre-owned here fairly recently, and I have really enjoyed it. Like it more than I thought I probably would. I couldn't pass it up because I got such a great deal on it. Far below the retail price. And that is, of course, the Accutron Astronaut T. And this is a limited edition, kind of reissue of a watch from 1968. It is almost a one-for-one recreation of that watch. I guess the biggest difference is that this is not a quartz watch. It does have an automatic movement in it. Of course, Accutron is known for their electrostatic movements and their high-accuracy quartz movements. But this one has a Sellita SW330 automatic movement in it. So that makes it a little bit different than most Accutrons you'll find. Again, this is limited to just 300 pieces, and there are still some of these available out there. Full retail price on this is $3,500 US. And honestly, that might be a little bit overpriced. It is a very nice watch that I really like, and we'll go through all the things that I like, but that full retail price is a little bit out there. But if you can find one pre-owned for a good deal, I definitely recommend picking one up. So let's take a look at the watch. It is a 41 millimeter watch. That is from the outside of the bezel to the outside of the bezel. You can see that the case is in fact smaller. The case is about 39 millimeters. It does have a kind of a funky 21 millimeter lug opening according to my measurement. But you're going to keep it on this bullet bracelet because it is fantastic. 21 millimeters to the top, it does taper down to 18. You've got a really short, just under 43 millimeter lug-to-lug measurement with these little kind of tiny little lugs that come off the case here. But it does have almost an integrated bracelet feel to it. And you've got male end links. So with those male end links, it's going to make it wear more like a 48 millimeter lug-to-lug. It is just right under 48 millimeters lug-to-lug, counting that last male end link. You do have a push-pull crown that is signed with the Accutron tuning fork there at the 3 o'clock position. It does still give you 100 meters water resistance. You've got a kind of a boxed sapphire crystal. Really good looking sapphire crystal on this one. I'm sure it does have some sort of anti-reflective treatment. Gives you a great shot of that kind of matte black dial. That box on the crystal sticks with the retro vibe of the watch. On the original, I'm sure it was probably like plexiglass crystal. But on this one, you get a beautiful boxed sapphire crystal. As I mentioned, it is running the Sellita SW330 GMT automatic movement. That does give you 25 joules and 42 hours power reserve. It is a caller or office GMT, though, not a traveler's or true GMT. And some people might scoff at that a little bit for the price as well. But it is a tried and true workhorse movement that you're not going to have any issues with. That would be easily serviced many places. So it is a solid movement for the watch. This has the iconic day-night GMT bezel from the original version of the watch that I really like. It's got an aluminum bezel insert. It looks really good. It is a bi-directional friction bezel. And it is some fair stiffness to the bezel. So it's not something you're going to bump and knock out of place easily. It does offer some resistance when turning the bezel. I definitely like the look of it. Good grip on it as well. Some nice finishing on the case. You've got a mix of high polished and brushed finishes. Sorry, I'm a little bit under the weather. You can probably hear it in my voice. You've got a high polished underside of the case there, and you see that brush on the top of the mid case. And then some more high polish on the side of that coin edge bezel. Definitely like the contrasting finishing on the watch. The watch is very nicely finished. You can see there again on the other side, that vertical brushing in contrast with that mirror high polished finish. Definitely a fan of some contrast in finishing. Does some nice tricks with light play. Again, that boxed sapphire crystals giving you a great look at this matte black dial. You do have applied indices at each one of your hour indicators. You've got an applied Accutron logo up there, done very nicely, just beneath the 12 o'clock position. And you've got Astronaut printed just above the 6 o'clock position. And then, of course, Swiss made down there. You've got kind of a sword-style, high-polished handset that does feature loom. The seconds hand is also loomed on this watch, which is kind of cool. And then you've got that big arrow on the end of your GMT hand, which is also loomed. The loom on this watch is really cool because you've got some really cool loom plots. These little triangles in between at kind of your half-hour marks almost, they're all loomed. Legibility may not be the greatest on this watch when you've got the loom going on it, but it is a nice, kind of looks like stars in the night sky, as I would describe it. The loom is really cool. Legibility overall is not terrible. It's not too hard to read it at a glance. With everything that's going on, it is a little bit busy. Thought maybe the legibility would be worse, but I've not had any issues reading it at a glance. I definitely like the look of the watch, and I think that matte black dial looks really good. And I think Accutron did a really nice job of making this pretty much a one-for-one recreation of the 1968 version. It's really cool, really well done. And this bullet-style bracelet is just absolutely awesome. Love this bracelet. It articulates very well, as you can see there. It is extremely comfortable on wrist. This bullet bracelet is just a winner. Now, Breitling has some bullet bracelets, but this bracelet is absolutely fantastic. It is a butterfly clasp. Got your Accutron logo in there as well. But you can still get a pretty good fit on this bracelet, and you're definitely going to keep it on this bullet bracelet because it is fantastic. Got a partial display case back showing your Sellita SW330. You can see you've got Accutron branding on the rotor. You've also got your Accutron branding on the back of the case here. You can see Astronaut T 1968. And this is number 233 of just 300 pieces. Really awesome looking watch. Definitely like what they did. You can see it as a screwed in case back there. Only complaints I would say is being that it is a collar GMT. In your first position where you can move your GMT hand, there's also a ghost date because there's no date on the watch. Not really much you can do about that with the style GMT because you have to have that position to move your GMT hand. And then the crown, being that it is kind of recessed into the case and a little bit small, if you have bigger or fatter fingers, it can be a little bit difficult to operate that crown. But other than that, I don't really have any complaints about the watch. I think it looks absolutely fantastic. Love the looks of the watch. I think it's just super cool. The history of the watch is super cool. And this bracelet is just fantastic. You don't hear me rave about a bracelet a whole lot. But man, oh man, is this bullet bracelet really, really cool. Can't sing enough praise for this bullet style bracelet. I'm a huge fan. Let's take a look at the loom on the watch, and then we'll see what it looks like on my 7.5-inch wrist. This watch does loom very well. You can see it is C3 Swiss Super Luminova. You got a green glow. You can see that seconds hand sweeping there. Your handset is very, very easy to see as well. Great application. You can see the GMT hand down there is loomed as well. And you can see it almost looks like stars in the night sky. All your loom plots in between your indices and as well as your hour indices themselves. Maybe not the most legible layout or design, thinking again this is mostly a watch used by pilots, but it is really cool to look at. I definitely like the look of the loom on this watch, and I think they did a really good job with it. Here's the watch on my 7.5-inch wrist. You can see it wears very nicely. You've got a short lug to lug, even with that kind of integrated style male in link. It's going to work well for a lot of wrists smaller than mine. And this bullet style bracelet, man, oh man, is it comfortable. Does it look great on wrist with solid light play. Just looks cool, wears comfortably. This is a conversation piece. This is kind of a statement piece, if you will. If you run across a watch geek that knows kind of the history of this watch and they see this, they're going to be like, wow, that's something that's really cool. Limited, limited to only 300 pieces. Again, there are still some available. The Accutron Astronaut T, limited edition, recreation of a 1968 watch, and man, is this thing super cool. If you liked the video, give me a like, maybe subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.